Hello, this is National Chess Master Rats here to continue my series of member best games. This is at chess.com, and these are members from my video lessons group. I believe it to be the best coaching group on the site because I have everything laid out for you with a simple, clear-cut plan to improve your game. And I'm very active in this group. I'm encouraging people to post their best game and get a free video from me. I'll put it up. Just one per customer. I'd love to do 2 or 3, but it's a lot of work. And I'm doing this for the love of the game. And there's really a lot to be learned from you if you watch these videos, because you'll see how to. I'll be attempting to show you how to analyze a chess game. And this is the kind of game I really like to do. This was played at a time control of 40 moves in 2 hours. And then after you reach that time control, you get an hour for the rest of your moves with a 5-second delay. This is ideal chess time control. Nothing better than a good 5-6 hour game of chess. If you don't like that thought, then this isn't your game. You should quit. Okay? Chess is not blitz. It's not a bullet race. It's a thinking man's game where you sit and you take your time. If you ever want to get good at chess, this is how you do it. You take your time. All these title players, you see their books, you see their names, you see them come online and play blitz chess. Well, this is how they got good. And you want to be like them, right? I sure did. I've given up with it, but I'm still steadily improving. But you can reach your potential if you learn how to do one thing: analyze. And there's not enough discussion on how to analyze a game, and I'm going to show you this. Alexander Davydov has submitted this. I hope I said your name right. I apologize if I didn't. He has given some notes here. We'll pay a little attention to them. I'm not sure if these these comments will post on the YouTube page. I had some trouble with the last one. Illegal characters. I'm not sure if it'll work. So if you want the PGN and see the notes that this person gives, you're going to have to join my group and join chess.com and join my group and find this member best game thread in the forums and find it and have a look. But this game will suffice it to say, this game once again is further proof why it is bad to use a computer to give you your best moves. This is the kind of game it's going to be kind of wacky, kind of wild. White's going to get all these possibilities here, and I'm sure if we ran this through a chess engine, it's going to show a lot of better moves. Well, so what? What good is knowing what the best move is? I'll give you a little analogy. Back when I was in the 8th grade taking math, I was an A student in math, and my future sister-in-law, who I knew since 1st grade, was in that class, and she wasn't too math savvy. And whenever we would have a test, she would turn around and ask me, "What's the answer to 8?" And I'd give her the answer. Hey, I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. I admit it. She passed the class. She probably wouldn't have without my help, but what did she learn if I gave her the answer? What did she learn? Well, the answer is she didn't learn anything. So if I sit here and show you what the computer says is the best move, then I'm achieving what chess authors and coaches like to do, is perfection. Well, you don't need perfection. What you need to do is learn how to analyze and come up with your ideas. If your idea is wrong, a better player is going to come along and show you. Like if you repeat the same line against somebody else, they study your game, they find a flaw, whoops, well, he got you. He give him credit. He did his research. Famous example, back in the days before computers, Hans Berliner, an American, he was 2400 strength over the board. He took up postal chess, and he won the world's postal chess championship by like the highest margin ever. He just rolled through the field, and he knew he was going to be black against this strong Russian entry, Yakov Estrin, and Estrin was the leading authority on the two knights defense. And Berliner got a copy of his book and found a flaw in one of the main lines, and got Estrin right into that and showed him why it was the wrong move. And and Berliner won. You can look up the game; it's somewhere out there, and find out what he did. Now, of course, they know today that's the wrong move, and Berliner showed him the right way, but he gets credit for going out and figuring it out on his own. No chess engine solved it for him. Okay, he got down and he dug into the position, and he analyzed it, and he was sure that it worked, and it did work, and he did it by just testing ideas. Okay, let's have a look at this game. It's a very, very entertaining game. All right, so this is the Scandinavian defense, or center counter, as it's also known here in America, and it's kind of a gambit line that Black plays. He doesn't capture that pawn on d5 right away, and if you play this correctly, it gives Black a pretty good game. And the purpose of this video is not to show you how to play this correctly. There are plenty of resources for you to learn to play the center counter defense if you want. It's a perfectly good opening. This video is not the place. I leave a lot of questions unanswered, and I do it deliberately because you're the one that has to go out and do the work. Okay, so according to Alexander, he says this, his note here, the first new move. More common is bishop to f5. Okay, so in other words, what we have is Black has played what we call a theoretical novelty. In other words, this is the first time this move has shown up in tournament play, at least among what the games they've collected. Maybe somebody else has played it somewhere. I don't know, but there's no record of it until this game. So what do you do when somebody plays a novelty? Well, you just keep playing normal chess. And unless you know this line deeply, you may not even know that's a novelty. I didn't know. I wouldn't have known. If you're going to prepare against a center counter defense, then you need to know this. You need to look over the variations and study them. That's a whole other deal. And unless you're approaching master strength, spending a lot of time on openings is not going to help you as much as learning to analyze your game. Get your game up to a higher level, then you can learn your openings. And my video lessons 1 shows exactly the best way to do it. You look up the openings after you play the game and learn a little bit about, and you play postal chess or turn-based chess, and look up the openings during the game. And that way, that's the best use of your time to learn an opening. And I believe that's the best formula. So White gives a check, and this seems natural, and Black blocks it. Now, I know in a lot of cases of the center counter, it's bad for White to try to hold on to that pawn. A lot of times they try to hold with an early pawn to c4, and Black has a number of resources at his disposal that give him a very, very playable game. And in a lot of cases, Black can get a winning game very quick. So if you want to win with Black, studying the center counter defense could be the opening you're looking for, but that's beyond the scope of this video. Let's see where this opening goes. Okay. Now, what Black wants to do is gain his pawn back and get some freedom. See, let's stop and take stock for a moment. Look at the Black king side. If Black needs to get castled, and that bishop on h5 is kind of misplaced. It's stopping him from playing g6. Black can't play g6 because even though this weakens the White king side, he's probably going to win a piece for a pawn, and he should be able to hold on to the position. So that bishop's in the way of Black completing his development on the king side. And if Black pushes the pawn to e6, there's going to be an exchange made on e6. Black will remain a pawn down, and he'll have a target, a backward pawn on the open file. So Black needs to have to figure out a way to get castled here. And what he did wrong, I don't know. Probably bishop f5 is the move. You'd have to verify all this out. But just to prove it to you, again, it's like giving you the answer to something you don't need to know, and you're not learning. So who cares what the best move was? Okay, so he plays a6. He's trying to drive the bishop away so that he can get some freedom. That knight on d7 is pinned, and we'll see his objective here in a moment. But anyway, Black's next move is kind of peculiar, and it's one I see happen a lot in games. Black's going to eventually play b5 and drive the knight or drive the bishop back so he can get the knight into b6 and start working on d5 and get that pawn back and free his position. But his next move doesn't help his plan. And really, I would say this is the move that costs Black the game here. First off, it spends a tempo that Black doesn't really have. He's got to get developed. And next, it creates some weaknesses on the king side, and we'll see how this falls into play here shortly. So White does the right thing. He develops a piece, and Black kicks it back, and now Black's able to play knight b6. Now looks all said fine and dandy. He's ready to take on d5, then be able to play e6, develop his king bishop, and get castled. But White throws a wrinkle in the armor here. He plays knight f4. And I think I said h6 is the losing move. Well, it kind of is. This next move, I think, really is to define the losing move. And can Black take back on d5? Not yet. But what he could try, just to hold on, is to play maybe queen d7 and try and castle queenside. But still, White's going to have all kinds of ways to attack that Black king. a4, you're ready to break open the ready to break open the queenside. White's going to have a lot of attacking chances. So, but h6 and combined with his next move pretty much do him in, because as Alexander gives notice of, this is just letting me damage his pawns for him. And that's exactly what it does. And strategically, White probably has the winning game right now. Okay? Simply because Black has two weaknesses in his position. He's got an isolated and backward pawn on e7, and he's got a doubled and weak pawn on g6. Plus his white squares around his king are very weak. White's got all kinds of ways to break into the Black position. So now we talk about learning how to analyze candidate moves. Well, one candidate move is to play queen d3. That threatens to take a pawn with check. Black certainly can't. What can Black do against that? Let's take a look. Queen d3. Okay, so what we want when we get in a position where things are happening, we consider candidate moves. In other words, possible moves we might play. It threatens to take a pawn with check. That's worth something right there. The only way I can see Black can hold that pawn is to move it. Okay, so suppose he moves it. So queen check. Now the king has to move. And if he heads for the queen side, we'll eventually try and break open the queen side and attack him over there. Okay, so queen d3 looks like a perfect logical move. Is it the best move? I don't know. I didn't turn on a computer to evaluate it. It's not important. White has a lot of happy choices here. White can pretty much win this position any way he wants. Okay, so White comes up with this move, bishop f4. He's putting some pressure on the pawn on c7. And note that Black still has this weak pawn on g6, and the weaknesses on the white squares have not gone away. Okay, so Black defends c7. He sees if there's a mass exchange on d5, that c7 pawn will fall. And White comes up with another I think a very creative move. Is it the best move? I don't know, but it makes sense. And you want to make moves that make sense. d6, and his comment here is my idea. If e d6, he can castle, and Black's king isn't going anywhere, and he has a big attack. And if he takes with the c pawn, he's going to plop the bishop down on e6 and entombing that dark squared bishop. So White's a pawn ahead, he can afford to give it back. Okay, so if e d6, what he's saying, let's look at it. He didn't play that. White's going to castle. Now, how's Black's king going to castle? It's going to take a while. Looks like you're going to have to shut this diagonal down. Let's see if his idea was correct. At some point, we have to shut that diagonal down. Okay. Now we're gonna pin, or we're gonna get a pin on the bishop. Okay. Black might try castling by hand, but that's a lot of moves. The king's got to go back and so forth. Might be worth a look. Okay, so if bishop e7, white can pin the bishop, and now if king f8 to clear the rook to swing over, we get queen e6 check in. So could black defend by let's see, d5 is necessary. On rook check, I was saying king f7. Let's see what this is worth. If white plays queen e2, queen e8 tries to break out of this a little bit, and maybe it'll do it. Maybe this is an okay continuation for black. But this is played over the board. You don't have the benefit of sitting down and being able to move the pieces around. You got to think from your brain with what's in front of you. So far, maybe black had a defense here. King f7. That's a possibility. Let's see. Let's go back to the note he gave and see what he says. Let's see. If he takes with the e-pawn, his king isn't going anywhere, and I have a big attack. Okay, does he really have a big attack? What else can we do to attack him? Let's see. Black's got to play... Well, wait a minute. I'm looking for the notes. The way chess.com, it rearranges the PGN when you go into sidelines. Okay, d6. Okay, he doesn't say he has to castle. He's just saying that he has a big attack. So, what else can white do here? Well, he could still play bishop e6. That seems to be a possible. Whoops, we have to uncastle. White could still play bishop e6. That gets the bishop on the other side of the pawn. Black can pin, but white unpins. Okay, now black needs to deal with this loose rook. Let's put it on d8, and we can probably anchor the bishop in with d5. So it looks like white has some good possibilities. And if you're studying a game, that's what you want to do. You don't need me to sit here and give you the answer. Like you need to stop and find it for yourself, because that's teaching you to analyze. It's that simple. My future sister-in-law, her brother married my sister. She didn't learn to think for herself. She could just turn around and get the answer for me. So I heard her. I feel bad about it. Anyway, say the least, you're not going to learn if someone's showing you the answer, whether it be a chess coach or a computer. If they're showing you what the best move is, you're not going to learn. Okay, so let's back it up. So I think d6 it shows imagination. It's a good move. It's very good. Okay. Oh, he took with the c pawn, and now he plays bishop e6 anyway. Okay, so black. Let's look at the black position. That bishop on f8 is not going anywhere. How are you going to get it out? Well, excuse me. Its only way to get out is by way of g7, so we're going to have to get g5 and g6 in, but white's got an active game. Black instead complicates. He sees that he needs to move his rook out of danger, so he makes an exchange sacrifice, which it's an idea. It's kind of desperation, though. You're giving up material. If you don't get any compensation for it, white's just going to grind you down and win. But without it, your black's just losing a tempo. Where else are you going to put the rook? c7 or back on a8? Then you're admitting moving it to c8 was a mistake. And if you go to b8 or c7, this d6 pawn is pinned. So, and it's white's move, and the black king isn't going anywhere. And meanwhile, this comes back to be a threat. You're trying to give a checkmate now. Okay, so he gives up the exchange, and Now he attacks the bishop. Now queen d3 you have to give up a bishop to, and then the knight's attacking the queen and the bishop, so you got to be careful here. White has to stop and preserve his bishop. Okay, so he backs it up, and that creates a flight square for the king. Okay, now white castles, and he says he doesn't care about a c3 pawn, and that's perfectly good. What do you care about it? What are you going to do? Is there a way to defend it? It looks like black can win it back. White can't get another defender on it, so let him have it. And he does. Now white chooses to get rid of the knight, leave black with one less defender, and then he anchors the bishop in. And if there's any chance at some point black needs to try g5, somehow you got to get the rook developed. The other idea is to play h5 and h4 and get the rook out, and eventually that's what black's going to do. Okay, so he's trying to get rid of that bishop because it's controlling too many squares. White says maybe bishop takes d7 check. I don't think you need to. If you trade everything off, you're going to win, but that's such a great bishop, and the queen, the rook, and both rooks are still sitting here at home. White doesn't have any more attackers in the game. It's too early to take that bishop. That kind of frees black a little bit. He might be able to then sacrifice a pawn with the e6, let him take en passant, and maybe if you're lucky you'll get that bishop out. I don't know. So his move is good. Anchors the square in, and comes up and says, if you take my bishop, I'll take with my queen. And I think here white missed a good move. White played rook ab1, but what's wrong with h4? Okay, is anything wrong with h4? I don't think so. How's black going to get that rook out now? So he's going to be basically giving odds of a rook and a bishop. So I think h4 was a good move. So what if, if he plays knight takes, you take back with the queen and give up this c pawn. Wow, another open line that we can come down and give mate with or something. So I think h4 was a good move. I don't know what I'm missing, but it certainly just frustrates the black pieces over there. Anyway, he played rook ab1, and he's got an idea though. It's threatening to take here, and if pawn takes, queen takes, check. And that black king is not long for this world. King d8 and queen b8 is mate. Okay, so it's a good move. So but white has happy choices. But I know he didn't play h4. He stopped and played king h1, which is a mistake. Now, 1500, he's playing a pretty good game. When you're rated like this, sometimes you get suffer from something people call rating intimidation. They're afraid of something that shouldn't be there. I still think h4 is a fine move. Oh, wait a minute. No. There's going to be a queen check and grab the pawn. See, I can't see one movers. But just because I missed that, does that make me any less of a teacher? No, absolutely it doesn't. Okay, so white's suggesting queen f2, and the idea with, whoop, we're getting too far. The idea of queen f2 is to be able to play h4. But now black plays it. And now white's a little concerned about maybe h3 coming, and he spends a tempo with h3. I don't know if it's the best move, but it's certainly not a bad move. With black so far behind in development, maybe white can make a sacrifice here. Well, no, you can't. I want to take on b5. It's not with check. e1 is going to hang. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's the best move, but white's got happy choices. Black's g6 pawn is still weak. Black is down material. His king is messed up. His bishop on f8 can't move. It's just a happy game for white. And he says now he plays it, queen f2. Perfectly good move. And now black suddenly gives the white queen some scope. Black makes a mistake. Boom. Now look, there's this diagonal that wasn't open up. Thank you very much. And White can probably trade queens and win this easily, but when you're heading materially and you have a good position, keep the queens on. Okay, so he does. Queen d2, and he wants to give a check. Okay. Now, we got these nice rooks. Let's get him into play. He does that. Threatening to pin the queen. Perfectly good move. Black counterattacks. Now it's time to spend the check. And now Black's just in desperate measures. White can basically have his way here. He checks. And he says that Black's next move, 30th move, loses. He says King B7 is his only hope, but Black's going to lose this, okay? It's just pure and simple. Black's going to lose this. White will just trade queens, and basically he's a rook ahead because that bishop is not getting in the game. He'll just play rook e1 and anchor that pawn in, and Black's helpless. But anyway, this just allows liquidation. White takes happily, gets rid of this, and now White comes up with a nice move. See if you can find it. Pause the video. Okay, you resumed. Did you find rook d1? It's a great move. The threat is to play rook d8, winning that bishop. So Black has only one move to stop that, and that's to come back here. And then White will check him again. And unless the king goes to b8, or c8 rather, White's going to put his rook on d8. And now White just brings the rook over here, and he's threatening to check on a8, and he's threatening to pick up the pawn on a6. So what can Black do? I'll take it a couple moves further. There's really not much Black can do, except try to get his bishop activated. Okay, let's chase that rook out. Okay, now the rook's got to come back here. Now, if Black wants to get that bishop out, how's he going to do it? Well, we're just going to go make some new threats. We're going to threaten to go there again. G6, I'll check you. And now the bishop can't move because you're going to lose a pawn, and the bishop will have no targets as all of White's pawns are on White squares. So you can't play G6. You got to shut the rook out, and I think this should do it. Now you're threatening to play rook f5 and eat just about every pawn he owns. Okay, so it's a simple win. White had a lot of happy choices. I'm sure there were other different winning moves and winning maneuvers, but I believe this was played at a pretty good level on White's part. You have every reason to be proud of this game, and what can I say? Great game. Some of my ideas, whether they're flawed or not, hopefully give you some fodder to sit down and dig a little deeper into this. And I want to thank everyone for taking the time to look at this. Be sure and submit your game. It's easy. Just go get the PGN of your game, even if you have to type it out. You should be able to generate a chess PGN from a chess engine. Figure out how to do that, and once you get to the thread, in the reply box there's a diagram. You click icon, you click that, and it allows you to enter the whole game. And then I'll see it, and I'm doing it in order. First come, first serve, right down the line. And the sooner you get your game in there, the sooner you're going to see a video. And I'm doing my best to catch up. And I want to thank again everyone for having a look. Take care. Bye.